started. We may have a few stragglers, but don't want to waste anybody's time. So, welcome again. If you all have joined previous sessions, you've heard my voice. My name is Kirsten. I'm the project leader for the iSupplier implementation. And today we're going to go over invoicing in iSupplier. So let me share my screen and we'll go over the rules today, if you will. So first things first, please keep your audio on mute just to reduce the amount of background noise. If you have any questions, you can certainly ask them during the chat or in the chat during the session. We probably will have time after the training session to answer questions as well. This is not a very detailed, this is probably one of the easiest things to do in iSupplier, so it won't take as long. We will be providing training slides and videos before November 23rd. We'll send them out an email. We'll give you a link where you can access them as well. And if you haven't registered for iSupplier, please do so. If you have any questions, we can put the instructions in the chat as well. Okay, so a couple things on iSupplier e-invoicing. This applies basically anybody who uses ClearOrbit today to submit an invoice. You're going to transition to doing that in iSupplier. If you submit invoices via email or tungsten or fax, you'll still continue to do that after we transition to iSupplier. So this is really just for those suppliers who provide material or services for our U.S. legal entities. Those POs must be invoiced in iSupplier. The other thing to keep in mind, there's basically 3 requirements in order for you to submit an invoice. The PO must be fully accepted. If the component on the PO, the item, if it's a serialized item, it's going to require you to enter that serialization before you can invoice. For a lot of the material, we require a receipt before you can invoice. That's a little different for suppliers who provide services, crane services, logistics, etc. In many cases, those suppliers, the receipt's not required, but for material, it is. So if you're in ClearOrbit today and you're submitting an invoice and you can't submit an invoice without a receipt, that will be the same in iSupplier. And if you're able to submit an invoice without a receipt in ClearOrbit today, that will be the same in iSupplier as well. Okay, so again, we are logged into our homepage.
We're only getting half what you're saying.
I'm sorry? Was there a question? No? Okay. Keep in mind that this is all just test data. So what you see in here is not reflecting any kind of agreements with a supplier. We have just a lot of test POs in this instance. Again, I'm starting on our homepage. And what I'd like to point out here is that we have training here. So for every basically topic that we have covered or will cover, you're going to see training documents here. So if you click on it, it's going to open up another page or a document, save, open, and it'll download. Now, if you have iSupplier access today, you're not going to see any of this. We haven't enabled this functionality completely. I just lost my link. You're only seeing very limited functionality in iSupplier if you have access today. But on November 23rd, everything that we're going over today and this whole week, you will be able to see in iSupplier. So I'm just going to log back in as a supplier real fast.
My screen is black. So just okay, John.
If your screen is, can anybody else see my screen where I'm logging in?
I can see it.
Yeah, I can see it.
You may need to log back out and log in to see the screen. Sometimes it gets stuck.
Yeah, we're good. I can see it.
Okay, great. So again, I'm back here in the home page just because I accidentally logged myself out. Everything for invoicing is going to be in the Finance tab. You can see here we've got a couple different tabs that we can view. I'm going to go over these kind of from the last to the first. So probably the most informational page for you is going to be the summary page. And this is going to show you basically what POs exist and if they are available for invoicing. So I'm just going to do a quick search here and do available to invoice and view details. Again, you can narrow this down if you want, but I'm just going to pull up basically everything that's available to invoice. So you can see here, you got your different sites, your PO numbers, the information here. I don't know why it's not letting me scroll. Let me try again. I have the worst luck with this. Where did you go? When Yatin does the training, he has no problems at all. And then when I do it, the system doesn't like me. So we're going to try this again.
원래 PO는 저쪽에서 만들어주지 않아요?
만들어주지.
네.
So you can see here quantity ordered, quantity received, quantity billed.
내가 필요 없을 것 같아서.
네.
And then if I scroll to the right, you can see here the available to invoice quantity.
전에 했던 것처럼.
And it says available to invoice, yes.
근데 이제
So basically any of these POs should be invoiceable. The only thing you want to make sure of is that these are accepted. This is looking at, you know, is there serialization entered? Is there a receipt? But it's not necessarily looking at if the PO itself or the line itself is accepted. So you'll want to double check that. And again, you can filter to whatever you want. So this is a really good summary page to see where your status is. And again, I don't know why this isn't disappearing, but you can export this to a downloadable file, and it'll give you an Excel format. Just like this. So I highly recommend using the summary page to double check when you have something invoiceable. As of right now, we do not have a notification for, you know, if a receipt is made and something is ready to be invoiced. We're checking into that because that has been a request in the previous sessions. But for Go Live November 23rd, we definitely wouldn't have that. So this is your best place to check to see what POs are invoiceable. Now the next two tabs are basically information only. You can enter, again, any of your search information here. Sorry about that. Can you still hear me? Yeah. And again, you can check by payment status, due date, etc. So all of your information should be here. Again, you can export it if you want to. Sorry, I'm just muting everybody. And you can add, you know, more information here if you want to search by something specific. Same for view payments. So I don't know if this, let me just do a blank. Yeah. So there's all kinds of information here. I think this has a little bit more details than Clearorbit does. So you can check all of your payment information here. And it'll tell you, you know, the invoice date, the invoice number, whether it's been paid or not. So there's some really good information here to see what's going on with your POs. So the next place we're going to go is to actually how to create an invoice. You can see here, you can search. I recommend just going, if you have your PO number, going straight to create invoice. Of course, I don't have a PO number, so I'm going to go find one real fast. Your details. Okay, I think I can use this top PO. Then you can just click go, enter your PO number. Yeah, okay, so we've got quite a few receipts here and nothing's been invoiced. So you can select whatever you want. I'm just going to do one line right now and click next. And now you're going to have to enter some information. So you're able to enter whatever invoice number you want. I know most suppliers have their own invoice numbers. So we're going to do that. Everything else kind of pre-populates. The remit to site, this is a default value, but if you have multiple sites, you can select here which site this should be remit to. And the invoice date here as well. The other thing, and we'll get to this in a minute, is credit memos.